This man has bought a hot robot to help around the house when his wife is busy with work, but the robot is hiding a terrible secret that he is unaware of. In a factory, thousands of synthetic humans, or synths, are standing in a storage room. Synths are robots made in perfect likeness to human beings to fulfill different societal roles. They are primarily used as household help by busy families. As a human worker drops off the last synth and leaves the room, all the robots stand with their heads down. However, one particular synth looks up and gazes at the moon through the glass roof. Next, a man named Joe Hawkins is looking after his 3 children, Sophie, Maddie, and Toby, because his wife Laura is out of town for work. However, the workload becomes too much for him, and he decides to buy a synth to help around the house. He does not consult his wife about this. Joe arrives at the synth outlet with his youngest daughter, Sophie, and they purchase a young and attractive-looking robot. To activate the synth, Joe has to shake her hand and provide his DNA sample, so that he is registered as the primary user. Sophie is incredibly excited and holds the synth's hand as they walk out. As they return home, everyone is excited to have a synth around the house, but Maddie is concerned about how their mother will react to this. She also asks about the technical specifications of the robot, and Joe warns her not to tinker with it because it is very expensive. On her way home, Laura encounters synths performing a wide variety of jobs, and they seem to make her uncomfortable. As she reaches the house, Toby and Sophie are excited to see her, however. Maddie seems to be the troubled teenager of the house who doesn't have a good relationship with her mother. As Laura learns that Joe has bought a synth, she becomes upset. She reminds Joe she has made it very clear on several occasions that she doesn't want a robot around her children, as it will mess with their heads. Joe argues that he has a hard time juggling the housework, the children, and his job when she is gone, and they need help. Laura tries to argue more, but Joe says that they can return the synth within 30 days if it doesn't work out, so they'll talk about it then. Laura asks the children what they want to name the synth, and Sophie says that she wants to name it Anita. Laura recognizes that Anita was Sophie's friend who moved away, and makes it clear to her daughter that robots cannot replace people. They don't have feelings. Sophie says that it's just a pretty name and they all agree on it. Flashback to 5 weeks earlier, Anita is walking through the woods with 3 other synths named Max, Niska, and Fred, and a human named Leo. They appear to be on the run from someone. Anita, Niska, and Fred are running out of battery, so Max and Leo decide to go and look for more fuel, while the others set up camp. Before they part ways, Anita and Leo embrace lovingly, indicating a romantic relationship between the two. When Leo and Max return, they see that the camps have been raided, and some men are dragging away the bodies of Anita, Niska, and Fred. Leo runs after them screaming, but they drive away. In the present, Leo interrogates people who are involved in the illegal sale and trade of synths, because he knows that Anita was taken by junkers. Max says that it's possible Anita has been destroyed, but Leo isn't willing to entertain that idea for even a second. During breakfast at the Hawkins house, Laura tries to teach her kids not to depend on Anita for every little thing, but they don't listen to her, especially Maddie. Next, a health worker visits a sick old man named George and tells him that she needs to inspect his synth, Odie. George says that Odie has gone out grocery shopping. The health worker says that since George has memory troubles and tremors in his extremities, he qualifies for a synth upgrade. George tries to deny the offer, but the health worker tells him that if his current synth doesn't pass her inspection, the upgrade will be mandatory. After she leaves, it is revealed that George is hiding Odie because he's attached to the robot and doesn't want to let it go. The robot seems to know all the memories precious to George because it has been with him for 6 years. At the Hawkins residence, it is revealed that Maddie is upset with her mother because she is always away for work. Laura spots Anita watching over a sleeping Sophie, and she sternly tells the synth to not do this again, because as a mother, this is her job. Laura tells Joe that she feels like he's bought Anita to replace her, but Joe replies that he's bought Anita so that they can have more time together. He adds that he feels like Laura's been avoiding him ever since her parents died, and that Maddie has been feeling this too. But Laura says that she's just been caught up in her work. Joe says that this is why having a synth around is a good idea. Meanwhile, Leo and Max prepare to meet up with Fred at a rendezvous point, But Fred, who is working at a farm, is caught by a man named Hobb. Hobb says that Fred is not like the other synths working there. He is only pretending to be. He reveals that he has discovered Fred has a phone, which is outside of allowed behavior for a synth. Fred becomes visibly scared and makes a run for it, but he is shot with a special dart that shuts him down. George and Odie are out shopping when Odie malfunctions and hits a human shop assistant, prompting a guard to shut him down. Anita arrives in Maddie's room to collect her clothes for laundry, and Maddie tries to shoot the robot with a BB gun. Anita dodges the projectile and reveals that she is allowed to defend herself from damage, as long as her actions don't bring harm to any humans. Maddie sternly says that she owns Anita, and she demands that Anita let the bullet hit her. However, as Maddie is reloading, Anita stops her and curiously asks why she wants to do this. Maddie is taken aback by this display of human-like curiosity by the robot, but she is interrupted by her parents. Joe and Laura demand to know why Maddie's grades have dropped, when it is evident that she is brilliant and a child prodigy. Maddie replies that school is pointless, because whatever training she receives, soon it will be given to a synth, making her job obsolete. Meanwhile, George is told by Officer Drummond that Odie has harmed a human and must be scrapped. Anita stares at a picture of Laura holding her baby daughter, and it seems to trigger a memory where Anita is drowning while holding another person. Next, Laura sees Anita reading a story to Sophie and tries to step in, but Sophie insists that she wants Anita to do it. Meanwhile, Leo arrives at a brothel, and it is revealed that Niska is working there. Niska thinks that Leo is there to break her out, but he reveals that Fred never met them at the rendezvous point, which means something is wrong. Someone is after them. If he breaks her out now, it will draw attention to them and put Niska in danger. Hence, she must stay here while he investigates the matter. Niska is upset. Leo asks if she's turned off her pain sensors to make this job easier, but she replies that she hasn't because she is made to feel. Hobb speaks to a company representative, while a technician performs diagnostics on Fred. It is revealed that a large corporation started funding Hobb's operation after he informed them that a man named David Elster created synths capable of consciousness. He warns the company representative that all such synths must be found and destroyed, because they represent the point where humans start becoming inferior to their own creations. Meanwhile, George reveals that he can't let Odie be recycled because he knows things that George can't risk getting out. He tries to destroy Odie with his own hands, but he can't bring himself to do it. Laura starts noticing strange things about Anita. At one point, she accidentally burns Laura's hand while trying to protect Sophie, and later in the night, Laura finds her standing outside looking at the moon. When Laura tells her to go inside, she obeys, but she also remarks, "The moon looks beautiful tonight, don't you think?" This freaks Laura out. She raises her concerns with Joe, but he doesn't think much of it. Meanwhile, Leo confesses to Max that he will do whatever it takes to find Anita, whose real name is Mia, because he is in love with her. Later, after everyone is asleep, Anita picks up a sleeping Sophie and walks out of the house into the rainy night. The next morning, Laura arrives in Sophie's room and she is still there, however. Laura notices that her pajamas have been changed and her previous pajamas are wet. She becomes worried. The technician running diagnostics on Fred reveals to Hobb that Fred has viewed one particular memory file millions of times, almost as if he is fondly remembering it. The memory shows him underwater, swimming with Anita. At the Hawkins residence, Laura continues to notice Anita's unusual behavior and warns that she is watching her. Anita creepily replies that she is watching Laura too, and Laura gets worried, but then she smiles and points out that it's an objective statement. Laura is standing right in front of her. Max and Leo arrive to meet a junker named Silas and inquire about Anita. Silas confirms that Anita came to him, but she had a weird personality, so he wiped her entire system clean and gave her a new one. The meeting becomes violent as Silas threatens to steal Max from Leo, and the duo barely make it out of the building alive. George's health worker returns to inspect Odie, and he lies that he has already recycled the synth. He is assigned a new synth named Vera. Meanwhile, Maddie and her friend Haroon try to hack into a school janitor synth, but they fail and make a run for it before they get caught. Laura is called into school, because it is suspected that Maddie has hacked the janitor synth since she is the only student smart enough to try it. However, when the school counselor is unable to provide any proof, Laura stands up for Maddie, which Maddie appreciates. Maddie and Haroon discuss how going to school is pointless because soon synths will do all the jobs. But Haroon points out that this is not true for Maddie, who is a genius. Maddie kisses Haroon. Next, George starts to get frustrated with Vera, who is not following his orders, but forcing him to do things and eat things that are recommended for his health. Leo and Max return to their hiding place, but Hobb and his men arrive, and they are forced to run. Meanwhile, Niska is becoming deeply scarred by her life as a prostitute. One night, Laura notices that Anita is holding something, and when she asks what it is, Anita reveals that it is a spider, which causes Laura to jump. Laura is freaked out because of all the insects. Spiders are the one species she is afraid of. She wonders out loud if Anita did this on purpose, and Joe tells her she is being crazy. Anita looks at Laura and creepily smiles. Laura points it out, but Joe brushes it off as Laura just being paranoid. Meanwhile, George continues to struggle with Vera while desperately trying to hide Odie. It is revealed that George is one of the initial creators of synths. Toby starts eyeing Anita around the house, as is expected from a pervy teenage boy. As she is charging at night, he tries to touch her robot melons, and she informs him that she will report this to Joe. Toby starts freaking out, as pervy teenage boys do, and Anita decides to be cool and not snitch on him. Toby is so concerned with hiding his pervy teenage acts that he doesn't even notice that this is very human-like behavior for a robot. At the brothel, a pervy old man, the other end of the pervy spectrum, shows up and demands that Niska act like a scared little girl for him. This creepy request turns out to be her breaking point. She refuses to fulfill this request, and when the old man gets aggressive, she kills him. She knocks out the owner of the brothel, removes her tracking chip, and escapes. Meanwhile, Max brings the injured Leo to a public bathroom and connects his wound to a socket. As the electricity passes through Leo, he recovers, revealing that he is part human and part robot. Maddie notices Anita interacting with one of the other synths in the neighborhood, and the synth asks Anita why she doesn't share. Maddie informs Laura that there is something wrong with Anita. She points out that when synths meet, they share data and the latest updates wirelessly. But Anita doesn't do this. With her suspicions confirmed, Laura asks Anita whether she took Sophie out the other night, and Anita just cryptically whispers that she would never let anything happen to Sophie. Freaking out, Laura prepares to take Anita back. She calls the company, and during the phone call, Sophie wakes up from a nightmare and calls out to Anita. Sophie hugs Anita, but Anita is not allowed to touch her unless the parents permit it. However, when Sophie demands to be cuddled, Anita does it, and promises to never let anything hurt Sophie. Laura sees this, and it's the last straw for her. She orders Anita to get in the car with her. When Anita asks where Laura is taking her, she simply replies that she is taking Anita back. For some unknown reason, she smiles at this. Humans is a British TV series that started in 2015 and ran for 3 seasons till 2018. The show's first season was incredibly well received, loved by critics and audiences alike for its creativity, and for an execution that made it likable for both avid sci-fi fans and regular viewers. With consequent seasons, the show's popularity and approval only grew bigger, eventually getting the show several major awards and a devoted fan base. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.